MELF.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sean from The Sean Ward Show.
And I am Jason from Make 'em Laugh Films. How you fine people doing today? I think you guys are a little bit tired out from the weekend, so we're going to try that just one more time. I said, how are you guys doing today?
That's what we like. I like the energy from this guy. Yes. I like the energy from everybody, but this guy especially. Now we're here to talk about our experiences on YouTube, with YouTube, doing YouTube. It's so crazy to me when I try to look at it. I try to take a step back and look at it kind of from a top level objective looking down at it, because I think of how like my whole thing about wanting to be a filmmaker and wanting to just make cool things with my friends goes back to being like a camcorder kind of. One guy in the neighborhood had a camcorder when we were kids, and we'd like his mom would let us go out and make movies with it in the neighborhood when it like March break. And so I used to think that I wanted to be a movie maker when I grew up, only because I loved making those movies with my friends in the neighborhood so much. It was so fun, and the movies that we made we thought were so funny. I mean, they're stupid, but like we thought they were so funny. But it was just so satisfying to make them, and we loved doing it so much. So I thought being a movie maker was just like what I had to get into to be able to do more of that. Years go by, and this thing gets called YouTube gets invented, and now here we are literally, we're just those same kids making movies in the neighborhood, grown up, but doing basically the same thing, only now we can put them online and people can watch them and they can get like ads put on them and we can like start a business out of it and whatnot. It's literally a dream come true. I love it so much. I'm having more fun than I've ever had doing anything in my life with this thing. And I don't want to speak for Jason, but I think your sentiments run in the same direction.
Very similar course for me. When I was a kid, my dream job was to become an actor and a director. I would spend all my free time putting on costumes and acting out scenes from popular superhero movies, mainly Batman stuff. Fast forward to about 22, 23 years later, I'm doing the same exact thing, but just on a much larger scale now. I got into YouTube pretty much through a film and video club at my college, and pretty much didn't look back. Started with a Dark Knight parody, met a bunch of like-minded creative people throughout the years at conventions, like this fine gentleman to my side over here. And yeah, we just parody all the Marvel and DC superhero content, and we're here to talk to you about our success stories and making that happen.
Yeah, so we know that there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions about YouTube, both about how to get going with it, as well as to do with some of the finer points around like the changes that have been happening to the platform in the last few years, things we've heard in the news about demonetization and certain kinds of videos, certain kinds of channels not being allowed to thrive and whatnot. So if anybody has any of those questions, we definitely want to take all of those questions. So, but we're also very happy to sort of share our experiences, and then if you have questions along the way, you can just put up your hand. But just right out of the gate, does anybody have any questions that they want us to address, like right out of the gate? Oh, yeah, okay, so here we go.
Okay, so with the algorithm changes, have you ever noticed your channel's monetization being like
content? Yeah, so sometimes a video of ours will get flagged for content because the algorithm, it searches for buzzwords that are like attached to like violence or fighting and stuff. And like we do sometimes do like superhero brawl videos. I know that one of your videos, the Green Goblin kidnaps Mary Jane. Like videos like that'll sometimes mistakenly get flagged for, you know, excessive content or violence and then demonetized. And it's kind of a pain. There's an appeal process, and I've been fortunate to have some of those content type of disputes like resolved from the appeal process.
In your favor?
In my favor.
I've never had one of those appeals resolved in my favor. Never. So I don't even bother appealing anymore, because one time I didn't appeal, and about 2 months later, just that having been flagged just went away. So yeah, so I don't even bother with that manual review anymore. But that whole thing that you were just asking about, the algorithm affecting the monetization, are you talking more in terms of what he's mentioning about like certain buzzwords or certain kinds of thumbnails getting flagged? Or are you talking about the search and suggestion algorithm?
Yeah, both.
Okay, well yeah, well the new stuff that they've brought out in terms of, you know, trying to have machines, robots, scrub the content and find stuff that might be inappropriate. YouTube's, I mean, here's the thing with YouTube. They act like this very conservative, old, stodgy, conservative kind of company in a lot of ways, even though they're like very new and they kind of hold all the cards. So what happens is there's some kind of controversy that people like to turn into a big controversy because there's just, you know, there's now news to talk about, right? So the news people make stories out of nothing, and then companies start being like, oh, well, maybe we're going to take our advertising off of YouTube. So YouTube oh, no, don't do that. We're going to make a whole bunch of new rules to try to please you, Mr. Blue Chip advertiser. Not with no, so it harms a lot of the smaller, because their whole thing is like a scattershot thing. We're just going to go way too far with how we police this stuff, and then we'll figure it out as we go and reel it in as we go. And so, but then what happens is, I just saw a study a little while ago that when these YouTube controversies happen, the companies that say that they're going to stop advertising on YouTube, and YouTube makes all of these changes to try to please them, it's not the companies that place these ads. The companies work with agencies that place these ads. And so there's so much money moving around and so many people involved that it takes, this report was saying, 2 weeks for those ads to be right back where they always were. But the landscape of YouTube has changed because they had this knee-jerk reaction to stuff. It's sometimes a pain in the butt, but I mean, we've had to take to really try to put a real emphasis and focus on like the kinds of images that are in our thumbnails, the kinds of words that are in our tags and in our titles and this kind of thing. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, to be honest, but you know, you do what you can to try to navigate it and understand the trials and the tribulations that YouTube is growing through, and do what you can to try to keep thriving.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough to be part of a network that has an optimizer for titles of the videos as well as buzzwords, the tags. So it has this optimizer where it automatically has suggested tags, so it kind of keeps up with the algorithm. And then it has like a star system, essentially. 5-star being the strongest tag combination and title combination and description that you can have. So it kind of guides you through that and gives you suggestions to kind of counter that algorithm.
All right, let's keep it moving with this question right in the front right here.
Well, talking about apocalypse, like everyone is talking about it, but I noticed with the new rules, what do you think about 400 hours of content to get starting for content to get monetized when you used to be 3 years into YouTube, if you had it, you could monetize? And I'm just really not happy with the way they
I love that question, and the reason why is because people like you who have nothing to worry about. People saw that and they said, well, how could YouTube do this to all of these, you know, small creators? It's really hurting small creators. But here's the thing, YouTube doesn't pay you until they owe you $100. So if you make $10 in a month, they'll hold on to it, and then it'll just keep adding up month by month. And once they owe you more than $100, they'll send you a check. So what they're talking about for the threshold, you wouldn't have made $100 yet anyway. So you're not talking about you're not talking about money that's going to affect your like living standards. You know what I mean? And if you're thinking that you're missing out on that $100, but it's also like you wouldn't have been getting that money all along anyway, right? So it's actually a lot less to it. And this is another example of what I'm talking about, how the media loves, because YouTube is new and it poses a threat to traditional modes of distribution that people have literally billions of dollars wrapped up in, the world's biggest corporations with the smartest people working at them. YouTube is a threat to all of that. So there's a vested interest in the news media pushing stories that make YouTube look bad, or make it look like YouTube's this fly-by-night thing that's not going to last. And so this example of like making a whole lot of hoopla over these new rules and how they're going to affect new creators is like a lot of hoopla about nothing, because as long as you're uploading regularly and trying really hard to like refine your voice and hone your craft, it's not going to make any difference to your journey as a creator or your career on YouTube anyway. You know what I mean? So did anybody else have a hand up for a question? Right up front.
Do you have any tips to starting like a YouTube channel?
Yeah, just go with an idea that you're passionate about, whether it be a parody, a sketch, a music video. Just put the content out there. It doesn't have to be perfect right away either, because you'll hone your craft and get better with every single project that you do. But make sure that it's a project that you're really passionate about, to kind of define your direction then, to give your audience then that you build a taste of where you're going to be going. And then have that consistency, but also feel free to explore. You'll always be happy if you're true to your own creative vision. So I'd say just, you know, put it out there and then be persistent after that to build the audience.
So those are some great points about like the creative end of it, and I'll throw something in on the technical end of it. We are so spoiled in the world we live in. It's what they say, an embarrassment of riches, for the fact that I walk around and I have a higher quality TV studio in my pocket than people have had access to for decades, basically since, you know, broadcasting was the thing, you know what I mean? So with the camera that's on a phone that your dad has, or just that somebody in your house has, or whatever, like, you can record video on that that's good enough that it just looks like, you know, any kind of pro quality video. And you'd be surprised at, you know, a lot of people, they don't get going because they think they need nice lights. Oh, I don't have a nice sound, I don't have a nice place to shoot in, blah, blah, blah. But it's just little things you can do, like sit by the window when it's bright outside so the light's coming in and hitting you on the face, and just make sure that the microphone, if you're just using the microphone that's on the camera, have it closer as opposed on the other side of the room. Like, those kinds of little things that you can do to just give it a little bit of, you know, it looks better, it sounds better, this kind of thing. But you would be surprised at the degree to which just getting going with it and doing a lot of stuff, what that'll cover for in terms of not having the quote-unquote best camera, the quote-unquote best microphone or lights or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah. Any other questions out there? Okay, well, maybe you guys will come up with some questions as we start telling you kind of our journeys. Because our journeys, our journey kind of like dovetails in together. He was making videos as part of an AV club in college at the same time as I was up here in Toronto, just trying to figure out what I was going to do as an artist. I had a job on a TV show, and kind of, I like to say it, that I got chewed up and spit out by the entertainment machine. And I'm sort of wondering, you know, what's the next, you know, thing that I'm going to do going to be. So I was kind of doing a daily vlogging project and then putting kind of produced comedy shorts on a different channel. And one of the videos that I made was a Batman kind of prank video that I did in the streets, and I put it up in February of 2012. And it just, for whatever reason, these things that just happen that you can never predict or plan for, it caught the media, the zeitgeist, the news cycle, whatever, went crazy viral, did 1 million views in a week. It was on the news. We were doing interviews with people in like news outlets in Japan and places like this. It was crazy. So one of the people kind of out there in the world, so I'm up in Toronto, make this video, and then down in near Chicago on a university campus is a guy who makes videos on a YouTube channel, and he sees that video and he makes a response video called Joker's Night Out, which is this guy. So we didn't know each other yet. So I saw that video, oh, it's a good video, and this dude's obviously like, you know, he's got the charisma and whatnot. So we reached out to each other and found out, you know, what we're about. And then he came up to Toronto to work on some new videos, and those videos were a success. And that was a big point in knowing that it wasn't about just kind of that one video that I put up went viral, it was a fluke. Once I'd done some more videos and they did well, and then he came up and those collaborations that we did very well, then we knew we were onto something. And so basically from 2013 to now, Jason and I have been making our own videos on our own channels. He's down in Florida now and I'm up here in Toronto. But whenever we can, we travel together and do a lot of Comicons together, because the videos that we make together always do very, very well, like into the millions of views, right? Basically every time we go to a Comicon and do the Spider-Verse video that we make will go crazy. And yeah, so I went through the whole thing of like doing that Batman video, it goes viral, what am I gonna do next? And tried all different things. But because I'm such a superhero fan since I was even younger than him, like, I'll put it to you this way, I didn't have a security blanket or a teddy bear as a kid. I had a little cape that I used to tell the adults to pin around my neck and wore it everywhere. It came, you know, fluttered out of the bottom of my coat even in the winter. So I've been a superhero fan my whole life, and the videos that I made that were about superheroes just happened to be the ones that did well. So it must be because that's my voice, that's what I'm into, that's what makes sense. So I just stepped on the gas and just leaned full into the superhero thing, and now we've got literally the #1 most watched YouTube channel in the superhero comedy genre, which is pretty badass. We just got to 1 million subscribers just before Christmas, hence the celebration jacket that we just had made. Tell me a little bit about the growth of your channel from Joker's Night Out up to now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started the channel back when I was in college. It all started with a Dark Knight parody. I was just heavily inspired by the impeccable, awesome performance of Heath Ledger's Joker. And you know, you can see the long-lasting impact I'm now doing the lesser Joker, making fun of that. But yeah, pretty much as a full-time college student, working pretty much, I considered it working like as a second job then, doing the YouTube stuff around the clock then. It's just what I love to do. Met a group of like-minded creative actors through the Illini Film and Video Club. Kept filming with them all throughout college, and when I entered the workforce, I'm actually a health administrator by day, as a health director, and then video director by night. Still do that to this day after I relocated to Florida. Met another group of like-minded creative people when I moved down there. I was very fortunate. And our base of operations is a comic book shop on the Space Coast in Florida known as VR Comics. So we host a bunch of cosplay events down there. The comic book shop acts as our backdrop for every single parody that we do. And it's just excellent having that backdrop with all the different statues, the merchandise to be and incorporate into our videos. And the comic book shop owner, Peter, is actually one of the main actors in our channel then. So from that time, you know, Joker's Night Out, the Dark Knight parody, just keeping it going all throughout the years. We tend to focus heavily on the superhero content, much like Sean's channel, because it's our voice, it's what we're the most passionate about. I have done some other stuff, some Saw parodies. One of them is the most successful video on my channel at this moment. It's called Jigsaw 2D. It spoofs the entire Saw franchise in the confines of one 3-hour and 18-long-minute parody. It took an insane amount of time to edit. But Spider-Verse, and then our parodies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DCXN universe are some of the more successful types of content from our brand. But yeah, we absolutely love doing this thing at conventions. The success on YouTube for both of our channels has led to opportunities such as this, appearing at conventions with you fine people and to organize, you know, further cosplay meetups. Literally right after we end this panel, we have a Batman family versus Harley Quinn and Joker flash mob slash meetup slash party taking place right at our booths. So, you know, how cool is that we get to say that? And then bring like-minded people together, like-minded cosplayers for future content. And it kind of just snowballs then into future videos and then future convention guest appearance opportunities then.
So what you can extrapolate from this in terms of like learning value, I think, is just that like we're doing superhero videos, and so a lot of people, we've seen people who see what we do and think that it's just as simple as, oh, okay, I'll get hold of a camera and find somebody with a costume and point the camera at that person in the costume, and whatever I record I'll put online and it'll get 1 million views and go viral. But you're completely missing the point when you see it that way. What I would really prefer you to see and take from it is this idea of having tried a whole bunch of different things, yes, and even continuing to experiment and try a whole bunch of different things. And so we landed on the superhero thing just as the thing that, you know, we're good at and the thing that we like to do and that people like to watch, and it just hits, you know, on all cylinders like that. But for somebody else it could be cooking, for somebody else it could be fixing cars, for somebody else it could be board games. That's the brilliant thing about YouTube and just the online space in general, is that it's almost like the Old West land grab. If you've seen it in movies where, you know, people came from the old world over to America and the land grab where they're gonna like go, you know, be the first to grab a stake and now that's their land, right? That's kind of what's going on online right now. And the sooner you get going, the more opportunity there is for you, because anything that you can think of that you may be interested in or good at or have knowledge about, somebody else out there wants to know about it, and somebody else out there, no matter how far down you think you are, like, oh, I'm not an expert, what do I know? But there's always somebody who's getting into it after you, and you look like an expert to them, or you at least have something to teach to them. So I like to use the example of like how to tie a bow tie, right? Once upon a time, YouTube was new, and somebody was the first person to think, oh, I'll make a video tutorial on how to tie a bow tie. And that person owned that whole concept of how to tie a bow tie for however long, until a second person thought of a twist they could put on it, right? And then they thought of a way to make it their own. So this whole thing of just like coming up with a new specialty and a new niche to own, and then trying a whole bunch of different things around that specialty until you start seeing results, because you're gonna try it this way, try it that way, try doing it upside down, try doing it on its side, and then eventually you'll notice that one of the ways that you tried it, oh, seems to be resonating with people. Oh, it did a little bit better. Or, oh, look at that, people in some other country were watching it. I didn't even know that people were watching my videos in that country, and this kind of thing. So it's all about figuring out like what your specialty is and what you're the expert in or what you're the most passionate about. Because I mean, there's so many channels that do well when it's just like product unboxings. Look at how many, you don't have to be a makeup expert to know how to, you know, just be excited about makeup. Like how many YouTube channels people are making like 6-figure and 7-figure salaries, because not because they're experts about makeup, but they're literally just, oh, I bought this palette. Oh my God, look at this palette. Oh, I love these colors. You know what I mean?
People love seeing the emotion that's evoked through those kinds of videos, those reactions. And that leads to what Sean was saying with being passionate about your niche that you find, about your voice. Because if you're having fun, then your audience is going to see that. Then they're going to have fun as the viewer. They're going to keep coming back for more. They're more apt to subscribe then, to show your product to their friends then, on their social media pages and such. So if you're having fun, your audience will as well.
Yeah. So at that stage, I just want to make sure, we want to get the most learning value out of this. So is there any other questions out there at this stage? Just throw your hand on up if you do. Yeah, right there in the leather jacket.
How are you able to track, like where you're being viewed?
Analytics. YouTube has built into each channel the ability to view your own analytics. So it literally breaks down into a map of each country, and it shows you your percentage of viewership as well as number of views then. So it's really cool to see, because then you could break it down or trend it into a specific time period, and you can see, okay, how many views did I get from New Zealand during this pay period here? Or maybe I'm being viewed in Mongolia now. And you know, sometimes it's the most random, unexpected number of places that your views get noticed then. And Sean, he was just telling me the other day how some of his videos, the Spider-Verse content, got noticed. What was it? Were there countries?
Brazil, right before Christmas, because my channel got to 1 million subscribers right before Christmas. And back then, just before that happened, me and my team were thinking to ourselves, we really want to be celebrating 1 million at Toronto Comicon in March, but I don't know if we're going to hit it by March. Like the estimate that we were getting from certain websites that you can track the stats, we're saying it was going to happen in April, maybe the end of March. Sometimes even they'd say May. Like, oh, but is it going to happen in March? Is it going to happen in time for Comic-Con? The 2 videos that I made went crazy viral, and they were old videos, which is why it's even more nutty. 2 of my videos went crazy viral in Brazil and Vietnam in December. And so that kicked in something where now the suggestion algorithm is pumping up more of our videos to more people are clicking on it, more people are watching it. And around that same time, I'd also brought out a new logo and freshened up the branding on the channel and whatnot. And I think all of that sort of, was a lot of ingredients in the stew that resulted in our subscriber base going from like 800 to 1,000 new subscribers a day to 5,000 to 6,000 a day for like 3 solid weeks while all this viral activity was happening. And then when it crested and it started calming back down, it didn't go back down to that 800 to 1,000. It went back down to like 2,500 to 4,000 as like, kind of a wild day in, day out kind of thing. And so I was able to get into all of that through the analytics. So when you have a YouTube channel, you're logged in the logged in area, you can see not just about where people are watching, but you can break it down to like age, gender, what videos they watched, what videos they watched after they watched your video, what video they came to your video from, like what other video on YouTube was suggesting your video beside it that made that person click on it, how they got there, what website directed them over. Like you can get so fine-grained with the analytics that like it becomes fun. It's a sport to like go in and dig through it and find out all this stuff.
And video retention is huge too. That means the number of people, or rather the watch time. So people who watch the video through completion, or at what point they watched it through. And then the higher your watch time, then it works into the algorithm. The more times that video is going to get suggested and shared, then shows up higher in the search results.
Yeah, there used to be a time when if you had one 10-minute long video and somebody else had 10 1-minute long videos, those 10 1-minute long videos watched for like people not even finishing them would count for more because the emphasis was on views. When YouTube realized that it's more about watch time and it's about keeping people on YouTube and having longer watch sessions, whatever they're watching, now that 10-minute video, if people watch half of it, it'll still count for more than people watching a little bit of more videos. Because it's not about how many people, even though they still show views and subscribers, like those are the absolute metrics, the name of the game is watch time. Because YouTube wants to incentivize people sticking around on the website and watching more stuff. So they don't care whose stuff they're watching, they just want you to be on the YouTube platform watching stuff, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's probably a big reason why my Saw parody is the most viewed video on my channel at this time. It's 3 hours and 18 minutes long, so the watch time, it's keeping people there far longer than the other videos on the channel, which are typically anywhere from a couple minutes through maybe 20 minutes on average as the longest. So yeah.
Yeah, we made a shift in focus on our channel strategy, on our programming strategy, to where we made a commitment to see how it goes this year, to turn around we're aiming for them to be about 10 minutes long, to do a big parody video of all of the big Marvel and DC movies that come out. We want to turn around a parody that's like 10 minutes long the next week. And when we put the emphasis on that, so people are already looking for those, Infinity War, Black Panther, Star Wars Last Jedi, right? So that stuff starts coming up in the suggestions because they're longer videos. Even if people are only watching 30% of them, let's suppose that across my channel, the average amount of a video people watch is 30%, but 30% of 10 minutes is longer than 30% of 4 minutes, and so that's helping us get more suggestions by doing these longer videos. And because YouTube, what their end game is they want people watching absolutely everything they watch. They want TV, HBO, TMN Go. They basically just want, if you're at home watching stuff, they want you watching on YouTube, whatever it is. which is why YouTube is pushing so hard into professionally produced content. They're trying to compete with Netflix and make YouTube Red. And like, I don't know if you heard, like, a big deal is that they got Ralph Macchio from the whole Karate Kid is going to come back, and they're making a Karate Kid show for YouTube Red that's going to have the stars of the original movie in it. Like, that, to my way of understanding things, that was never YouTube's business, right? It was all about empowering people like me and you to create content and put it online. But now they're buddying up with Hollywood because I guess they think that's where the money is. I think their CEO really wants to be a big Hollywood player. But that's what their focus is on, is trying to just get more people watching more stuff on YouTube. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes, because their focus really does seem to be shifting away from independent creators and towards Hollywood.
Absolutely. We got another question back over here.
You mentioned a little earlier some form of a group or a program or something that analyzes your tags, your tag wording, your description, and optimizes it. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a broadband TV network. They have an optimizer where if you're a partner with their affiliate network, you get access to that. So it's an add-on type of program. So you install it with Google Chrome, and then as you're uploading your videos, so you have the basic functions where you could put basic info and then some advanced information like the location. Under basic info, you could put the tags, your video description, your title, but the optimizer takes it one step further then. So it gives you star ratings. It pretty much analyzes what you're putting into the title, the description, and then the tags then, and it compares what it's analyzing your video to be to similar videos that already exist out there. So if you're uploading a Justice League parody, it's going to analyze other existing Justice League parodies and the tags that they use, and which tags were successful making those videos with higher views, higher retention for the views and such, the watch times. So then it gives you those suggestions for the tags to add to your own, and you have the option to add all, and then you could even add a few more customized ones, like you could put your it's usually a good idea to put your own channel name into the tags then, so that it links to your other videos that are pre-existing at that time. And then it also encourages you to add the title of your video into the description itself, because it helps the search results as well. Even they suggest titling the file name itself of the video, the actual title that you're going to use for the video on YouTube. So that way it works into the algorithm. It strengthens even further with the search results.
Yeah, on my end, with my network, what it does, I don't know, is it vidIQ or is it built into Broadband's proprietary thing?
It's built into it.
Okay, because in my network, my network basically provides me access to a paid service that anybody could buy called vidIQ that does a lot of the same thing. So instead of having to pay for it, I get it as part of my membership in the network that I'm with. But yeah, so that kind of thing is a service that you can subscribe to. Any other questions out there? We're starting to get a little short on time. Let's do the hand right over here.
When you were in school, how was it balancing like YouTube and schoolwork? Like you want to make a video, you have no time, you don't want to study.
Well, I'm going to have to let him answer because I didn't go to college or university, so that one's for this guy.
Yeah, it's a challenge sometimes, and it really teaches you effective time management skills, and I think it actually helped me in the long run doing that, and perfecting that. I'm still actually working on it. I wouldn't say perfecting it, but getting much better at it over the years. But it's still a challenge, and I'm still essentially doing the same exact thing, because I'm a health administrator. I work 40-hour weeks, and then I come home, and then at night I work on the video stuff, whether we're script writing, I'm meeting up with my crew at the comic book shop to film another parody, or going back to edit. So it could be very challenging balancing work, YouTube, and then my personal life. I have to make time for my wife. I gotta make time for that. And, that's been a challenge, especially with the Justice League parody being 35 minutes long. That's the most recent parody that we did. Took many, many hours of editing. So honestly, now I gotta do some shorter parodies now, balance it out a little bit more, because personal life, can't fall by the wayside. So it's just about time management and long-term planning with the videos. Because as I was wrapping up Justice League, I'm like, okay, well, I have these shorter videos I'm filming at Toronto Comicon. They shouldn't take as long to edit. These flash mobs that we do, the Spider-Verse flash mob we did yesterday, the Batman versus Joker Harley Quinn flash mob we're doing right after this. Much easier content in terms of editing.
That also starts to turn into an issue of programming, right? Programming is a skill. So thinking about, okay, I know that I'm working on this one longer video that's going to take a lot more time to finish. So I'll make it easy for myself by the very next video after that will be a much shorter one that's easier to produce, and that just becomes like, you know, acquiring that, developing that skill of programming, which is like its own skill unto itself. Do we have any other questions in the house?
Yep, right over here.
All right, this might be a silly question, but I don't know much about this, putting stuff on.
No, you're who we're here for. No silly
Okay.
questions.
So apparently I have a YouTube channel, which I didn't even know, but if you put something on it and then all of a sudden it gets all these hits or whatever, and like, do advertising just come in? Like, how do you get advertising? I don't understand how that works.
After you reach a certain threshold, you'll receive a message to become affiliated with YouTube, and then you have to set up a Google AdSense account, because the number of views then, and then the ads being on it, so you have the option to monetize each individual video, but then it gets processed through AdSense then, based on the number of views you accumulate, it works out to a certain percentage of money that you'll receive for that advertising, and then you have the option to connect that to a PayPal account then for payout every month then. You can even become affiliated with a network, and then it can get processed through the network as well.
So then if you have enough views, they'll just automatically come to you, and it's not like you have to actually go out.
Yeah, once you cross the threshold and you log into your logged in area, you're looking at what's called your creator dashboard. It's got, you know, your analytics, you know, the front page of your analytics showing. It'll be there's a banner at the top that shows you messages. So like when I crossed 1 million subscribers, that was a little message saying you're eligible to get your 1 million subscribers reward. Click here to claim it, right? So I'm gonna, because they send you a plaque, right? So I've got that plaque coming in the mail. Or so in your case, it would be, you know, we've noticed you've been publishing a long time, and you're now eligible for the YouTube Partner Program. Click here to enroll, and that's how you would get into it that way.
I got this thing one time. I think it said that if I don't put something on or something, then I'll lose it. And I didn't even know I had one, right? And then I got one of these things that you said that somebody questioned something that was on my YouTube channel, which that's how I found out I had a YouTube channel, right? So, and I did protest, and they gave it back to me.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was really weird, but that's how I found out. So now I'm thinking, maybe I should do something with it, since right?
And why not?
Yeah, right. So is there like, if you don't put enough stuff on, they will cancel it on you, or it'll just always be there, just not active?
I think it would just always be there. You may not get as much viewership if you don't have the new content being pumped out, but if those original videos, if they have significant life enough, they'll always kind of just continue, and then you would still get the percentage. And then as for the threshold, I'm not 100% sure. It might be 1,000 subscribers at this point, because I know that they took away the monetization option for those channels that were less than that. But don't quote me on that, but that might be the most recent update.
Yeah, I think it's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in the previous 365. I think 4,000 hours of watch time in the previous 365 days.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I think that's the threshold now to be eligible to put ads on your videos and make money off of them.
Yeah, and then boom, they'll send you this little notice, and then you
Yeah.
take it from there. Okay.
Correct.
If you could like dig deep, click, and I don't know where to send you to, but there's somewhere in the logged in area where you can like manually make that request. But if they're not showing it to you, then who knows if you'd even get it, right?
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions from people?
Right in front
We'll
over
take this
here.
one, and then we'll take the cap over here.
So as the parent of somebody who really wants to get into YouTube, what advice do you have on framing the comments that come up? So I'm sure you learn from what people say, but the soul-crushing ones, how do you avoid having those crushed souls?
I would recommend, I would honestly recommend that a parent be involved very closely in monitoring that activity, because, you know, may I ask how old you are, my good friend?
10.
10, okay. So you're technically not even allowed to have your own YouTube channel. You're not allowed to have any profile online until you're 13. That's when they figure that you're old enough to have a Facebook page or whatever. But in the case of you being the parent, I would actually highly recommend that you just don't even think about those comments and delete them when you see them.
Okay.
If it's something in the mode of like constructive criticism, sometimes that people just have no tact, but they mean well. But when it's people just literally being you know what for the sake of being you know what, delete it and you won't even see it.
Okay.
Like, because I've got a lot of people who work on my channel, and because we're doing superhero things, sometimes the girls are wearing costumes that are like, you know, a little more revealing kind of thing. And so somebody will try to be a troll, and they're saying horrible things in the comments. I don't want them to see it. I don't engage with it or nothing. I just delete it. Now they don't have to see it, and now that person knows that they're not going to, because people just want to get a rise out of you, right? There's this whole thing that sucks that's in people, where deep down we don't want people to succeed, because deep down we've all got that fear of abandonment. So we don't want to see people get successful. It's okay if they're already successful when we find out about them, because then it's this whole like celebrity thing, and it plays into that, you know, we need something to worship that's just in our DNA, right? But there's something about watching people get successful that triggers that thing, that abandonment issue thing, because then the person, even if we don't know them, it triggers this weird thing. So haters are trying to like get you to stop doing what you're doing. They're trying to discourage you so you'll stop doing it, so that you won't do better, and so that in their mind make you look bad because you didn't do well when because then you could have as well, right? So once you start understanding like that kind of the psychology aspect of it, and understanding the degree to which it's really something to just be like brushed aside like lint, you're probably doing be doing a good favor for this young man to just like be involved in that activity and help police that stuff, and then he doesn't have to deal with it, he doesn't have to see it, and then if he does see it by accident, you can talk about it and this kind of thing, and that's just where parenting comes in. But I think if you're really involved in it, it could be very, it could be healthy to have an outlet, it could be healthy to have a thing that you're both doing together, but also like, I'm so jealous of you, dude, because if you're trying to do YouTube now, when I was 10 years old, there was no such thing as YouTube. Like I said, we're making our little camcorder movies, we couldn't show them to anybody unless we like brought them to our house and put the thing in the player, you know what I mean? Like the tape or the DVD or whatever. But for you to have so much time to be able to try things, experiment with things, see what you like, figure out who you are, figure out what you want to talk about, and have all of that time to get good, get knowledgeable, get talented, build an audience, you're in such good shape. And the more serious you take it at this kind of age, the more interested you get into this kind of age, you're setting yourself up for huge success later on, because you spent all of those years doing it, whereas most people, they're still in that mode of thinking that they have to just go to school, then go to university, and university, they get a little paper that tells them that they've got, you know, the talent to do whatever, but you'll have sidestepped all of that because, you know, you still got to take school seriously and whatnot, but at the same time, you're working on this other thing that's yours, and you own it, and you control it, and nobody can take it away from you, and you'll be setting yourself, you got going with it now, you're setting yourself up, like, at a scale for us to be jealous of, because you got so much time on your hands now, or time on your side, I meant to say, that, I think it'd be a very productive and constructive thing for you to do, and I think it'd be a productive thing for the household to have that going on. You would be involved in it. Hope that answers your question.
And then going back to those belligerent comments and such, I've noticed a trend that when I receive personally like a hateful comment, I know that that's a sign that we're about to, or that we have ventured into new territory in terms of a new audience then, and then usually that video is one that really takes off then. A couple of examples are from Sean's channel. We did a Joker versus Joker parody, you know, received a hateful comment like, who's this, you know, Jared Leto guy? I'm not going to repeat the exact comments, not appropriate, but now that video has, what, around 10 million views?
10 million
about 10 million views.
Argue with that, but
And then same with the Spider-Man versus Green Goblin video that we filmed, the real life superhero battle. Some people were like, oh, this isn't as funny as some of the old content. Well, that one's also a highly successful video on the channel as well at this time.
Tens of millions on that one.
Yeah.
We are getting real close to being out of time, so we're going to take this question right here and then see where we're at with that. So let's get that question and let's
Kind
do that.
of like a two-part question. Like, as a small YouTube channel, like, what kind of tips would you give to a new person starting out? And also, the new analytics threshold. Do you guys agree with what they're doing? Like, do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's going to kind of distract people, maybe who might not want to be a part of it, just because it's so kind of hard to get to that threshold?
Well, like I said before, I think that YouTube, and I don't even think that they know that they're doing it, but I think that they're so hungry to be in the conversation and on the scene when it comes to Hollywood and the film festivals and the award shows and all of the glitz and the glamour side of Hollywood. I think YouTube for a long time was really proud to not be part of that, on the level of we're trailblazers and we're building a whole new, we're not building a new niche in a pre-existing industry, we're literally building a whole new industry out of thin air, right? And now that it's gotten to a certain size, where it's thriving, something about the management change with that new CEO came in 2014, they're much more focused on being a Hollywood player now. I don't know if that's good or bad for the community. I think it was maybe not the best move. It's kind of, that's not YouTube's strength, but I don't work at YouTube, and people much smarter than me do. And when it comes to tips for a new channel, my main tips would be to be really prolific and just keep uploading as frequently as you can.
Agreed.
And to also take little notes, like I was saying to our friend over here, when it comes to little things that you can do when you don't yet have the best equipment or the money to go get the best equipment or even the know-how, the little things you can do, like shoot your video when it's sunny outside and the light can come in on the window and now you're not worried about lights. Do something about, either, even if you're using, maybe the camera's got to be a little bit of a distance away to get the shot that you want, you can use like your older phone or your other relative's phone and have it closer to you to get the audio. Like there's just little things that you can do that are easy that can give you just that slight edge to make it look a little nicer, sound a little nicer, because those are going to be the things that like help people cotton on to you, as opposed to a lot of people go, oh, I'm not a big channel, so I'm just going to sit in a dark corner and not worry about that technical side of it. But at a certain level, like, anybody can get up and go with it, but to be successful or to start getting successful, you do kind of got to take the technical side of it just that much seriously.
And then I would also say, again, using buzzwords in the titles, also have a flashy thumbnail. Take the best moment from your video, get a screenshot of that, even add text over it, maybe put your logo. You always want to brand yourself. And then, have that really eye-catching thumbnail. Then you want to make a very memorable first impression on someone that's navigating through the search results, and they come on your video, and they'll click it. They're more apt to watch through it all and then share it.
All right, cool. I think that's gonna have to wrap it up. Is that we done here? We got time for one more. No, it looks like we're what's that?
One more.
Okay, we can take one more.
Last one.
Who's got the one more? Well, maybe that was the last one. Going once, going twice. All right, well that was the How to Be a YouTube Star panel. If anybody comes up with questions later, like we said, our booth is the one right underneath the escalator in the community area with the TV showing the videos off, so you can always come up and talk to us. We love to talk to people, we love to share our knowledge and learn from you guys even, because that's what it's all about. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Great to see you.
And then if you guys are looking for some entertainment, stop by our booths at 2 p.m. Again, we have the Batman versus Harley Quinn and Joker Flash Mob beat-up going on. We are Make 'em Laugh Films and the Sean Ward Show. Thank you.